Hello, I am Tathan Talks, and this is BFLEIR 10, What if fake Leafy survived instead of banana? Now, the things I always say, the ratio of the video is strange, nothing I can do about the background noise, and this is unscripted. So, another thing I want to say before we begin is that my last what if was rather boring, to be completely honest with you, but I do believe this one will be a lot more interesting. I've put a lot, there's a couple extra little moments in this what if, and I think it turned out pretty well. Same thing with the one after this, the episode 9 one. I do believe that one is also a rather good what if. So, let us begin. So here we see, episode 10, Banana is now eliminated. This will surely shake things up because, present day, in canon, he is still in the game. But now getting out at episode 10, that's going to make some big changes. So here we have the episode 10 cast as of right now. Bizboy is currently on his date right now. So that's why Cool Clown is there. So let's get into the challenge. Fake Leafy works with phone on the surface. Oh, by the way, if you don't remember, this challenge is to catch a squid. So there's a squid in the water, and there's a squid on land with wings. So obviously, phone cannot go in the water, so Fake Leafy decides to work with him. She also notices Cool Clown and brings him along because, Banana isn't here to babysit him, so Cool Clown, all alone. So Fake Leafy kind of takes him in. Here's something interesting. If you remember, in the canon episode, Cool Clown teleports Banana's old friends to the beach. So, since Banana is not with Cool Clown, instead of teleporting Banana's old friend, he teleports Phone's old friend to the beach, Nick. Now, if you don't know who Nick is, I don't know if it's officially confirmed to be his name, but I do believe it is the name of that stick figure in the Ring Ring short, if you have watched that. So that is where Phone originates from, so that is who Nick is. But unfortunately for Phone, Nick gets kidnapped by the zombie bean. So, how unfortunate for him. Anyway, everything else would be the same, and Bizboy would be randomized safe because of the input order. Now, you may be wondering, I've mentioned, I think in a couple what ifs I've mentioned the input order before. Basically, that's like the order that Sammy would put the list of contestants into the randomizer. So since Banana was, originally first, because it's alphabetical. So originally Banana was first on the list, but now Bizboy is first on the list, so Bizboy would be safe from the randomizer. So here's episode 11. So in canon, it was Banana who tried to recover pepper sauce, or his name changed a couple times. But now it is Phone and Fake Leafy who attempt to recover Nick, but they only find Noob. Now this is important because these two finding Noob creates like a kind of a relationship with Noob. So this could get these two a couple more, this could increase their likability in the eyes of the viewers. So that's rather important. Anyways, Grassblock is eliminated here, unfortunately for him. So there he goes, poor little guy. I do believe in canon he was out in episode 13, so this is rather early, but I do believe it would be Grassblock, so how unfortunate for him. Here is our episode 11 cast, and the challenge is to dig up a box. So everyone here still finds a box like normal, nothing changes with that. And without a banana, Bizboy grabs a box, and the other goes flying. So, Bizboy, already has a box, so there's no reason to go and chase it. Candy Cane knocks Carrot off of the hoverboard. Yes, I do believe we skipped something here. Yes, Naughty and Carrot, Naughty would still give Carrot his hoverboard, so Carrot would go chasing after it, but Candy Cane would grab onto it and knock him off, which means Candy Cane would end up getting the box and being safe. Wow, I didn't, not a lot of build up here to some of these scenes, some of these moments, but yes, I do believe that Cool Fiery and Heart Locket would be eliminated from the competition. So, how unfortunate for them. This could also be, as you can see, like this has been these have been rather interesting changes. You know, a lot of eliminations that shouldn't have happened. Pretty sure, like, all of these eliminations are not the same as canon. Besides, Cool Fiery, so this could change. This is going to change a lot. So here's our cast, episode 12. Noob would still join the game, and the challenge would. Yes, right. The location challenge. So the pairs, you know, Joe and Cool Glasses, Carrot and Candy Cane, and then the new pairs would be Phone and Biz Boy. I feel like those two would be interesting together, and then Fake Leafy, Naughty, and Noob would all pair up. So for the picks, you know, Biz Boy's team obviously chooses Banana, and then that's the only change. Yes, that's the only unique pair that chooses someone new. So it would be these two on the right who would win. Like same as Ken, and Watermelon would do his thing with the statues, and yeah, apologies. I've done quite a lot. I've done a lot of what ifs today, so apologies. Cool Glasses would win the prize, and Bizboy would be eliminated in a not super close vote, unfortunately for him. So there he goes. And there we are, episode 13. Noob isn't here, so he can't pack. Naughty doesn't beatbox. And, I seem to have accidentally skipped the frame where Cool Glasses is eliminated for the whole rent money joke. Apologies for that mistake. I did not mean to do that. There was supposed to be a frame here, but I've forgotten. But regardless, he's still out from the challenge, and the plane still crashes. You see here, I decided that Fake Leafy would probably just get like a hole in her eye or something. So, she's blinded one eye now, so that's something. Oh, and Phone doesn't survive the fall, because he is a phone. He's fairly fragile. I do not think he would make it. He would probably land on a rock and die. So that disqualifies him from the challenge. Joe still ditches Carrot and finds Sans, but he has no idea who he is. So Sans decides to help him as a cover, because because Heartlocket isn't here, so he can't see Heartlocket and Sans having their conversation with each other. So he has no idea what his deal is. Carrot still wins with the help from Piss Bucket, and Joe wins with help from Sans. So, man, a lot of things skipping here. Maybe I should add a bit more in my future ones. Cool Glasses wins the prize like he always does. And the person... Oh, right, this is voting. So the votes would be basically all for Noob. And Noob would vote for Cool Glasses, but that wouldn't even matter because Cool Glasses would have immunity because of the prize. So, yeah. This is fairly obvious, Noob was the only one in this vote that, wasn't really known as well. I mean, Fake Leafy and Noob... They knew, or Fake Leafy and Phone, sorry. They knew about Noob, but they talked to him once, and he's been missing for all this time, and he's, sleeping, and they didn't really want to take any shots at anyone else. They wouldn't have the votes regardless, so they just decided to vote with the majority and eliminate Noob from the competition. So there he is. Very unfortunate for Noob. I mean, it's definitely a more... It's definitely a better way to go. In canon, he was out in a purge. So I would say this is a more respectable loss. Nothing he could have done there. Here's episode 14. Naughty is still replaced by Watermelon very briefly. So there's a lot of pairs in this challenge. Joe and Naughty, Fake Leafy and Phone, and Cool Glasses, Carrot, and Candy Cane. I feel like, Carrot and Candy Cane would have befriended each other in episode 12, and I feel like Cool Glasses would have been like, oh, okay, he would have been fine with grouping up. So because of this, Carrot would win the challenge, because the other two would feel, bad for how, sad he currently is, and they would give him the wheat, making him safe. Well, not safe, there's no elimination. It would give him, they wouldn't know there's no elimination, but Carrot would pick Cletus Donut to not have a shot at rejoining. And of course, Hat rejoins the game, like always. And here's our episode 15 cast. And now we move on to the racing challenge. Not before Cool Glasses wins the prize and doesn't have to do the challenge, of course. And Banana isn't here, so there's no pairs for this challenge. He doesn't blurt it out and say, "Oh, it's this challenge is so easy." He doesn't say that here because he's not here. So there's no pairs. It's everyone for themselves. So you can probably see where this is going, but I'll scroll on through. First attempt brings hat to the end, gotta have the rejoiner win, of course. Joe and Nati use the hoverboard. They don't really have, Heartlocket's not here for them to attack, so they make it to the end fairly easily. And everyone else struggles to make it to the end because of the whole, cliff in the middle of the track. But, Flushed broke his leg, so he is purged out of the game. There's nothing he can do about a broken leg. So there's Flush in the elimination order, and there is our episode 16 cast. And that's about it for this What If. A lot of I think the most interesting thing is how fake Leafy and Phone were able to make it to the end. Wouldn't really expect that to happen. Pretty shocking. Lot of big faces missing in this final 8 here. No Banana and no Heartlocket. Heartlocket was I guess the main kind of villain character right now, and so is Banana to an extent, and they're just not here this time. So I feel like in the future that could be rather interesting. Who else are we missing? Oh yes, Flushed. Yes, of course. Flush is now, well, not necessarily replaced with Cool Glasses, but Cool Glasses, Fake Leafy, and Phone instead of Flushed, Banana, and Heartlocket. So that could make some big changes in whenever episode 16 comes out. But yes, that's about it. Thank you for watching. Yeah. Goodbye.